YouGoProBaseball.com here with the man, Brent Pourciau, Top Velocity. We just got done with a camp. It was awesome, but we also did an Instagram Live on @TopVelocity, and we were asking for some topics that we can cover, and we decided to go with the top 10 post-pitching
routines.
Things you should do after you get done pitching. So, what do you got?
Well, I'm kind of looking at our list. We wrote a pretty long list here of things that we wanted to cover in 10 easy steps. Your handwriting is probably better for you to read, so why don't you give
Number one is replenish.
Okay, so replenish. So, you know, it is a moment where you pitch and then you want to do something productive because you've worked really hard. Hopefully you had a good game. And you want to do something productive, and there's a lot of productivity you could do. I think where we go wrong is we want to do the things of, like, we get into the old school mentalities of we got to flush the blood. We got to get this gook that's built up on our arm. It's like acid eating through our arm, right? And it scientifically, when you look at it, there's not that really happening. What's happening is you're fatigued, you're inflamed because you've been breaking all this tissue down. So you're getting swelling due to blood trying to come into an area that's been traumatized, right? So the reason we say replenishing is because you need to replenish the body to help it heal. Okay, so going out and running long distance or whatever it is, trying to flush the blood, is really kind of doing more damage than what's been done. Meaning, if your body is producing lactic acid, we've all heard this term lactic acid, which is kind of silly, because when you look in the science of the cell, in the mitochondria where the cell creates energy, lactic acid is like one compound of like thousands of things going off. And I don't know why we've narrowed into this one little compound. But lactic acid is important. It actually produces, it's a survival energy our body creates to give us that last little burst of energy. And it's really not the problem. Like I said, the problem is you're depleted. So we have to replenish. So we have to replenish with fluid. We have to replenish with oxygen, you know, just getting some good breaths of air into your body. We have to replenish with micronutrients, macronutrients, and proteins, amino acids. So ideally, you'd want to drink a ton of water with some good minerals in it. Maybe put some good trace minerals in it. And then also we want to take a good amino acid complex, ideally your 8 essential amino acids. You want to get a good meal, and you just want to let your body start to recover. That would be number one.
Yeah, and you know, it's a workout. Like, guys know, like, after a workout, they're like, I'm going to get my protein in. I'm going to eat. I'm going to make sure I sleep. But after we pitch a game, it seems like people want to go out and drink beer and stay up late.
Or go run a marathon.
Right, yeah. So, like, it's a workout. It's a workout. So you got to try to start the recovery process from that workout. Number two is extra training and or rest.
Yeah, so I brought this one up because, you know, when you pitch a game and say you're expecting to throw 80, 90 pitches and you throw 40, maybe you got pulled early, and you walk out and you're like, man, I didn't get that workout. I didn't finish, right? So I think you can go out right there, and maybe if sometimes a coach will let you throw a little more in the pen, but maybe you can go behind the fence and you can do some sprint work to get maybe your legs didn't really get enough work. You can do some sprint work, plyometric work, any explosive movements to kind of emulate what you were doing, upper body strengthening. So if you didn't get a good workout and you feel like you didn't throw enough, you could, if you got energy and your body doesn't feel as broken down, go out and do some speed and agility training and some upper body, lower body strength conditioning.
Number 3, light posterior for the shoulder.
So here's the thing, you know, when we're talking about that inflammation, you got to understand throwing, what it does is your posterior shoulder is actually weakening as you throw. It's actually a mechanism to help you throw harder. It's like turning the brakes off to accelerate quicker. But in that weakening, you're causing the posterior shoulder to stretch more, and like a rubber band. If I keep pulling on a rubber band, it starts to break down and it starts to get flimsy and it starts to deteriorate. And that's where all that inflammation is coming from. It's trying to heal all that because most muscles break down more in an eccentric movement. So if we can get in right after, even if you're tired, and do that posterior shoulder stuff to help strengthen that fascial up that has been elongated, that would help. Also, too, that's happening in your back of your hip on your landing leg. If I can do some bridge work, right, even maybe some Romanian deadlift stuff to tighten up my glutes, specifically on my landing leg, that would be some good post-game throwing that your body really needs that doesn't really add to more of the wear and tear.
And so that was number 4, actually. And
I jumped right into number 4.
You were on a roll, man.
Yeah, sorry.
But to add, like for the posterior stuff for the shoulder, I would do light dumbbells. Like I don't think I went over 3 pounds when I was playing. It wasn't like super heavy stuff. Or bands, you could get the band.
Yeah, I love crossover symmetry. I think they do great things there. They got even new assessment measurements with their bands and more of their tools. So getting their stuff, I think, is a great buy. And getting that, and also, like you said, light dumbbells works good too.
Number 5, because we did number 4 already, is mobility.
Yeah, mobility is important because, like, for example, when you're throwing arm side, you're really stretching into that arm rotation of your trunk. That thoracic rotation is being stretched and pulled to your arm side, but you're more tightening the other way. So you're actually getting into this out of alignment position, So it'd be good to be stretching towards the other side, your thoracic, even into your hip internal rotation. So take that pitching is an out of balance position, out of balance movement, and then try to get your mobility to those other sides that you weren't hitting and really mobilize there and try to balance everything out. That would be huge post-throwing.
Number 6, and this is ice versus no ice.
Yeah, what do you think?
So I went through many different phases when I was playing. I went from icing to no icing, and I ended up not icing more than I iced. And the reason for me was because, like you were saying earlier, the natural instinct of the body is to send blood there. That's what the inflammation is. It's your body trying to fix what you just did to it while you were pitching. And for me, when I iced and took Advil, I always took a lot of Advil, I always felt like I got the inflammation down, but I stayed sore for longer. When I didn't ice, I felt like I was letting my body, and I didn't take the Advil, I felt like I was letting my body do the recovery process.
To be honest, I think the fact that you stopped taking the Advil, because the Advil and ibuprofen inhibits tissue repair. So you actually can be causing more damage with the ibuprofen. But you're right, the ice is the same thing. You could be stopping the healing process. Now, here's the only thing. After surgery, I had rotator cuff surgery, you get so inflamed that if you don't ice, you feel like your arm never recovers. Because you have a lot of torn up tissue from the surgery and from the injury. So I was a guy where I wouldn't do aggressive icing, which I don't think you should, but I would definitely ice 10 minutes, no more than 15, and it really helped. Because I think what happens is, for example, the body is always trying to do its best, but sometimes it overreacts. Like autoimmune diseases is your body attacking things in your body that don't need to be attacked. So your body can overreact, and sometimes it'll overreact in a traumatic joint injury, and sometimes curving that reaction with a little ice is effective. Even like people see it with like wasp bites. Some people swell up like this with a wasp bite, and another guy will barely swell up with a wasp bite. Well, the guy swelling like this has got to go to the hospital and take boatloads of Benadryl and put it in his body, and the other guy doesn't have to do anything. So we're all going to be different. Your body's going to react differently. Some guys won't need the ice, and some guys might need the ice. You just need to see how it works for you.
Number 7. So now that was all for like after pitching, like the day of pitching, after pitching. Now we're kind of getting into the next day, and we've got like active recovery we're talking about for the next day.
Yeah, because right, everybody likes that post-game running. You can do a little bit of that, but really the next day it's better. It's better the next day because the next day you're ready to get your blood flowing again. It's important to get your blood flowing again because your body still hasn't healed everything. So when you sleep, everything kind of settles and doesn't move well. So when you wake up, that's when you should get out, start jogging, get that blood pumping again. So that's the flush that you talk about. You want that the next day to stimulate the healing response again, not after you're already soaking wet and you're hot and you're already inflamed and your blood's moving after you pitch. You don't really need it then. You need it that next day to get the healing process going again.
Yeah, and that's what I used to love to go on just a little, and it's nothing crazy. Like you're not trying to go, today I'm going to go in the gym and crush it and, lift as much weight as I can or anything. Just a nice little jog and get the blood flowing and get that body temperature up, and you're just going to feel so much more better. And I've got on there just after that is massage. And what I used to do was, and I think my trainers hated me for this, was I would go on that jog and then come in and ask for a massage. So I'd be all sweaty and nasty, and you know, they'd be in there digging in there and trying to get some of that soreness out. But I think that's another great one to kind of, you know, for recovery purposes.
Yeah, well, massage is parasympathetic, which means it calms you down. And it would be really good after you played the game too. And it would be good anytime in the recovery process, because when you calm the body down, it allows it to really heal. But even talking about it, I think I was the kind of guy, and this is going to be dependent on who you are, but I actually like to do only a lower body lift. I would avoid the upper body lifts, but I like the lower body lifts. I'd get up and I'd run, and then I'd go into a good lower body lift to try to stimulate some healing. But that was me. I like the post-game lift.
We did something, my trainers did something we called milking the arm. Like we would hold something up here, and then they would be massaging the arm like back down to here. And I used to get sore in my lats, really sore in my lats and my back and my butt, my drive leg too.
Well, look, what you're trying to do is you're trying to pump blood in and out. So it's a pumping effect. So like voodoo bands, icing, it's all the same thing. What it's doing, it's compression. It's pushing all the blood out by squeezing and pushing all the blood out, and then releasing it and let all the heart pump the blood back in, and then pushing it all out, and then letting it come back in. That pumping effect is helping more good blood come in and more of the garbage go out, or the old blood go out.
So number 9, we're almost there. I wrote down sleep. And I mean, I think this is important, just like I mentioned before, like after you pitch, let's say you're a starter and you pitched a bunch of innings, you know, if you go out and party all night, you know, you're doing more damage to it. You just killed yourself. You just killed your body. You're out there doing a crazy activity for so many reps. You know, if you're throwing 60, 80, 100 pitches out there, you got to go and start that recovery process, replenish, and get some sleep. Just like if you had a hard workout and you wanted to feel good the next day, you got to make sure you get your sleep. Sleep is super important, you know, to start that recovery process.
To be honest, I think what happens is a lot of guys, they take forever to burn the energy off and the excitement off from the game, that they stay up till 1 in the morning, and then they feel so bad the next day because that's when your body needed sleep the most, and you deprived it of that. So yeah, I think that's crucial.
It's tough, especially if you got a 7 o'clock game.
Yeah,
you know,
and you dominated. You got 12 strikeouts.
Yeah.
You want to go out and like tell everybody.
Yeah. Even if you're not like going out and partying, it's like you got all that energy stored up. You know, even if you're just sitting in your room or something, it's hard to go to sleep.
But to be honest, that's why you need that massage, because that would bring down your central nervous system, make it less active, and cause it to want to, you know, you want to start to close your eyes and let your body recover.
And then number 10, we got analyze. And I guess this could be the day after, but really it could be right after the game too. And, you know, I like to say, like, you have to have a short memory in baseball, especially pitching. Especially if you had a bad outing, you need to have a short memory. But even your good outings, you have to have a short memory. You don't want to let your highs get too high or your lows get too low. But, you know, really just kind of taking an assessment of what just happened and then saying, what can I do to make the next time better? And then once you have that in your head, you got to get rid of it. Like you can't dwell on it too much. There's a lot of guys who think themselves out of the game because they'll be dwelling on a bad game, or they'll think they're the man for too long after a good game. You know, so you got to kind of take that assessment, analyze what just happened. You know, if you're a guy that likes to write things down, write it down. You know, if not, just kind of come up with a plan of attack for the week coming, because you know you just had that pitching outing. If you're a starter, maybe 5 days or 7 days later, you got another outing. So what are you going to do that week to be better than the time you just pitched today?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a reactive mind, meaning our minds are very reactive. And if we did something really bad and we had a really bad inning, it lives with us because it's something that we are worried we're going to do it again, right? And all the bad feelings we got from it, we feel like they're going to manifest again. So to prevent, you know, getting in a situation and getting a lot of anxiety because you're starting to recognize this situation, it might be coming back. So you don't have that in your next outing. It's good to sit there and journal. Okay, this is what happened. This is why it went wrong. This is what I did wrong. This is what I could do better. This is how I reacted. Maybe I could slow the game down. Like if you live it out again and work through it, because you didn't have time in the game because you had to keep playing. But if you live it out again and work through it, then you can you can basically wrap it up and be done with it. And now you're not concerned that you have this little landmine that you might step on again and all of this emotion come out because you didn't deal with it the first time. And that's the reactive aspects of the mind. So if you can sit there and journal it out and live through it and reanalyze it and just be done with it, you're going to be so much more prepared the next time, and it's something you don't have to worry about because you've already handled it.
I like to get that all done before you even get in the shower. So once you hit that shower, I almost envision it as like it's flushing everything off of you down the drain. There you go. You already took care of it. You know, you already addressed everything that you wanted to address. And there you go. You're on to the next day. You got the plan of attack. You're ready to go. You're going to be a better pitcher because of it.
That was awesome.
There you go. Top 10 things to do after you get done pitching.
And if you have any other great suggestions for it,
yeah,
for us, leave it in the comments. Or if we missed something that you think's great and you want to ask a question about it, leave it in the comments.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one.